Here's the truth. Most people will never become the strongest version of themselves, not because they lack potential, but because they lack the ruthlessness required to cut through the illusions that chain them. The world does not bend for the weak. It doesn't care about your comfort, your feelings, or your excuses. It respects only strength, strength of will, strength of strategy, strength of character. And if you want to rise, if you want to command respect rather than beg for it, you must learn the rules that society pretends don't exist but secretly obeys. Niccolo Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. His writings weren't guides to cruelty for its own sake. They were manuals for power, how to see reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. He tore away the comforting lies and revealed that life is not a playground, it is an arena. And only those who prepare themselves ruthlessly can stand victorious. So, let's be clear. This is not about becoming a better person in the watered-down, feel-good sense. This is about becoming unshakable. It's about building the kind of strength that cannot be ignored, the kind of presence that bends the environment in your favor. And to achieve this, you need rules, not moral platitudes, but strategies forged in the fire of history and philosophy. Here's why this matters. Most people live their lives asleep. They wander through routines, obedient to systems designed to keep them docile, working, consuming, and never questioning. They never pause to realize that their so-called choices are chains disguised as freedoms. Machiavelli's wisdom, when applied, burns those illusions away. It gives you the clarity to see life for what it truly is, a contest for dominance, influence, and survival. And once you see that, you can no longer go back to the old way of living, but with clarity comes responsibility. If you choose to open your eyes, you also accept the burden of action. To know truth but remain weak is the greatest cowardice. The path of becoming the strongest version of yourself demands discipline, sacrifice, and above all, the courage to live by principles most people fear to even consider. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, once wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." What does that mean in our context? It means you don't have time to waste. Every day you hesitate, every day you delay, you are signaling to yourself and the world that you are content being ordinary. That's not strength, that's surrender. And yet, here's the paradox. To build true strength, you must first accept weakness. You must recognize the parts of you that are fragile, the illusions you've been feeding, the lies you tell yourself about why you're not where you want to be. Carl Jung said, "That which you most need will be found where you least want to look." And he was right. The first step in rising is daring to confront the shadows within yourself, the laziness, the envy, the self-doubt. Because until you do, those shadows will rule you. The purpose of these 5 ruthless rules is not to give you a comfortable roadmap. They are meant to break you open, to strip away the excuses, and to forge you into someone unrecognizable to your former self. Someone who commands their own destiny. Someone who doesn't beg for respect but radiates it naturally. Someone who can stand alone without needing approval because they have built an unshakable core. Let's pause here. Ask yourself, are you ready to hear what most people will never dare to accept? Are you ready to embrace principles that may alienate you from the masses but elevate you above them? Because if you're not, then stop watching now. These rules are not for the weak. They are not for those who want comfort. They are for those who want power, resilience, and freedom. If you're still here, good. That means you're ready to be challenged. You're ready to confront truths that will sting but ultimately set you free. You're ready to learn what Machiavelli, Marcus Aurelius, Nietzsche, and others all pointed to in their own ways. That life rewards the few who are brave enough to live with eyes wide open. Comment this now. I don't chase respect, I command it. And if these words already hit something inside you, if you can feel that this message is shaking you awake, then do not hesitate. Subscribe, like this video, and stay locked in. Because the next part will not just inspire you, it will give you the first ruthless rule you must live by if you want to become the strongest version of yourself. And once you hear it, there is no turning back. Rule 1. Master perception, because perception is power. Machiavelli wrote in The Prince, "Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are." This single line is a weapon if you learn how to wield it. Why? Because people do not act based on truth. They act based on their perception of truth. If you control perception, you control reality for them. This is why the strongest version of yourself is not simply about being strong in private. It is about broadcasting strength, projecting it, and ensuring that the image others see commands respect before you even speak. You cannot afford to appear weak, hesitant, or unsure, even when you are still building your foundation internally. Ask yourself, when you enter a room, what impression do you leave? Do people feel your presence, or do they forget you the moment you leave? Strength isn't just about what you can do. It's about how the world perceives you doing it. You must master your presence. Nietzsche once said, "People are always angry at those who choose to tell the truth, for they would rather cling to their illusions." That anger is proof. Perception is everything. People will reject uncomfortable truths, but they will submit to the appearance of certainty. They are drawn to confidence even when it's unfounded, and they shy away from hesitation even when it's justified. So what does that mean for you? It means you must cultivate the art of appearing unshakable. Let's ground this in reality. Look at leaders, conquerors, CEOs, or even influencers who dominate their arenas. Do you think they always have everything under control? Of course not. But they project certainty. They understand that the crowd takes its cues from perception, not truth. And here lies the ruthless rule. If you want to be the strongest version of yourself, you must master perception and craft the image of strength until it becomes indistinguishable from reality. This doesn't mean you fake everything. No, because pretending without substance collapses. But it does mean that you strategically choose what the world sees. You emphasize your strengths and conceal your vulnerabilities until those vulnerabilities are conquered. You display discipline outwardly even when internally you're still fighting chaos. And slowly, by mastering perception, you force yourself into alignment with the image you project. Carl Jung warned, "The world will ask you who you are. And if you do not know, the world will tell you." That is why controlling perception is non-negotiable. If you don't define your image, others will do it for you, and they will not do it in your favor. Here's the actionable step. Audit yourself. Strip down your wardrobe, your body language, your speech, your online presence. Ask, does this project strength or weakness? Does this command respect or invite disregard? You may think these details are small, but remember, perception is the currency of influence. Those who neglect it remain invisible. Those who master it bend environments to their will. So, the first ruthless rule is clear. Master perception. Appear strong until you are strong. Project confidence until it hardens into truth. Shape how the world sees you, or be shaped into something lesser. Comment this now. I control the image. I control the power. And if you're feeling this, if you realize how perception has been playing you instead of serving you, then make sure you subscribe and like. Because in the next part, I'll reveal Rule 2. A principle so uncomfortable most people reject it outright. Yet it's the one that separates the masses from those who truly dominate. Rule 2. Ruthlessly eliminate dependence. Machiavelli declared, "The wise man does at once what the fool does at last." What does this mean for you? It means you must take control of your life so completely that you are never at the mercy of another person, institution, or system. Dependence is weakness disguised as convenience. And if you want to be the strongest version of yourself, you must rip it out from the roots. Think about it. How many people are prisoners of their jobs because they fear losing a paycheck? How many are chained to relationships out of desperation, not love? How many can't make a decision without validation from others? These dependencies are invisible shackles, and the person who is dependent cannot be free, cannot be strong, cannot be respected. Schopenhauer once wrote, "A man can be himself only so long as he is alone. If he loves not solitude, he will not love freedom." Why? Because solitude reveals how dependent you truly are. Can you stand alone without fear? Can you move forward without needing applause, comfort, or approval? If the answer is no, then your strength is an illusion. Machiavelli advised rulers never to place themselves in the hands of others, because the one who depends on mercy will eventually be destroyed by it. The same is true in your life. If your identity, survival, or progress relies on someone else's will, you are not strong, you are vulnerable. Here's the harsh reality. Society conditions you to depend on government, on employers, on approval, on constant distraction. You are trained to trade freedom for comfort, autonomy for security. But the strongest reject this conditioning. They build self-reliance like a fortress. Financial independence, mental independence, emotional independence. These are not luxuries, they are requirements. Does this mean you cut everyone off? No. But it does mean you structure your life so that no single failure, betrayal, or loss can break you. It means you develop the capacity to walk away from jobs, from relationships, from opportunities, without crumbling. Because only the man who can walk away is truly free. Let me be clear. Dependence is not just about money. It is about psychology. Do you need validation to act? Do you need constant comfort to endure? Do you need others to tell you what you're worth? Then you are dependent. And as long as you are dependent, you cannot be feared, respected, or followed. Nietzsche spoke of the Übermensch, the higher man who creates his own values. This is impossible if you live by the crutch of others' validation. To eliminate dependence, you must endure the discomfort of solitude, the grind of independence, the silence of walking your own path. It is painful, but pain is the crucible of strength. Here's your step. Identify every area where you are dependent. Financial? Build multiple streams of income. Emotional? Learn to sit in solitude without reaching for distraction. Mental? Stop outsourcing your thinking to media, trends, or authority figures. Independence is built one brick at a time, and every brick you lay adds to the fortress of your strength. The second ruthless rule is simple, yet severe. Depend on nothing and no one you cannot walk away from. Build yourself into someone who stands complete, whether surrounded by a crowd or left utterly alone. Comment this now. I eliminate dependence. I stand alone, unshakable. And if this hits you, if you realize how much of your life has been controlled by invisible dependencies, then like, subscribe, and stay with me, because Rule 3 will cut even deeper. It is the law that governs every power dynamic in existence, and once you understand it, you'll never see human interaction the same way again. Rule 3. Power respects power. Here is a brutal reality. Strength only bows to greater strength. Power only respects power. Everything else please, whining, weakness invites exploitation. If you want to thrive, you must understand this law of existence. It is not cruelty, it is nature. Machiavelli observed that rulers who relied on mercy or goodwill were inevitably betrayed. Why? Because human beings are opportunistic. They may smile at kindness, but they submit to strength. The one who holds power dictates the terms of the interaction. The powerless must adapt or perish. Look at your own life. Do the people around you respect you because they see strength in you, or do they merely tolerate you because you are useful to them? There's a difference. Respect is born from strength. Utility is temporary. When your usefulness runs out, those who do not respect your power will discard you without hesitation. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Apply this here. Stop debating what strength should look like. Be strong. Build the kind of presence that commands attention, not because you demand it, but because it radiates from you. The law of power, respecting power, is seen everywhere, from the schoolyard to the boardroom, from politics to personal relationships. The strong lead, the weak follow. The middle ground is an illusion. And the sooner you accept this, the sooner you can rise. Nietzsche said, "The world is the will to power, and nothing besides." This doesn't mean cruelty or tyranny. It means life itself is a contest of strength. Every organism fights for survival, dominance, continuation. The human being is no exception. To pretend otherwise is to live in delusion. So what does this mean for you? It means you cannot beg for respect. You cannot negotiate from weakness. You cannot hope that goodwill will shield you. You must develop undeniable strength, physically, mentally, financially, socially. Power attracts allies, deters enemies, and establishes your position in the hierarchy. Weakness invites manipulation. Here's the actionable step. Stop asking, "How can I be liked?" and start asking, "How can I be respected?" Because when you are respected, being liked becomes optional. Respect creates influence, and influence is power. To live by this rule, you must constantly test and expand your strength. Enter arenas where competition is real. Expose yourself to challenges that force you to grow. Comfort breeds weakness. Only struggle breeds strength. Remember, those who are feared and respected are never ignored. Those who are weak are trampled without a second thought. The third ruthless rule is this: power does not listen to weakness. Become strong in every domain of life until even your silence carries weight. Comment this now. Power respects power, and I am power. If this rule stung, if you realize how often you've tried to win respect through kindness alone, then wake up. Kindness without strength is exploitation waiting to happen. Subscribe, like, and prepare yourself, because Rule 4 is coming, and it will force you to confront the most uncomfortable truth about loyalty, betrayal, and human nature itself. Rule 4. Loyalty is conditional. Never forget it. Here is a truth most people cannot stomach. Loyalty is not absolute. It is conditional, fragile, and always tied to interest. Machiavelli was ruthless in his assessment of human nature. He wrote, "Men are ungrateful, fickle, false, cowardly, covetous, and as long as you succeed, they are yours entirely. They will offer you their blood, property, life, and children. But when the need is far distant, but when it approaches, they revolt." Read that again. People pledge loyalty when it costs them nothing. But the moment their interests change, their so-called loyalty dissolves. If you don't understand this, you will be betrayed. Not once, but endlessly. Think about your own life. How many friends disappeared when you stopped being convenient to them? How many relationships shattered when circumstances shifted? How many allies turned rivals when their gain outweighed their loyalty? This is not an accident. It is human nature. Voltaire once said, "Lord, protect me from my friends. I can take care of my enemies." Why? Because betrayal rarely comes from your enemies. They are predictable. It comes from those who call themselves allies. The strongest version of yourself never forgets this. Now, does this mean you trust no one? No, but it does mean you trust conditionally. You recognize that loyalty is transactional. People are loyal to their interests first. If your path aligns with their interests, they stay. When it doesn't, they leave. The wise man expects this and is never shocked by it. Machiavelli advised rulers to rule with a balance of fear and love, but to lean on fear if forced to choose. Why? Because fear is a more reliable motivator than love. Love is fleeting, but fear of consequences endures. Translate this into your life. If you rely on loyalty alone, you are building on sand. You must instead build systems, leverage, and deterrence that ensure people act in your favor even when their emotions shift. The ruthless rule here is not cynicism, it is clarity. To see people as they are, not as you wish them to be. To love, but not blindly. To trust, but not without safeguards. To appreciate loyalty when it's real, but to never collapse when it ends. Because it will end. Here's the actionable step. Audit your circle. Who is around you out of genuine alignment, and who is there out of convenience? Who adds strength to your life, and who drains it? Stop confusing proximity with loyalty. Start rewarding those who prove consistent action, not words. And above all, build yourself so strong that betrayal, when it comes, cannot topple you. The fourth ruthless rule is this: loyalty is conditional. Expect betrayal, prepare for it, and build so strong that it cannot shake you. Comment this now. I expect betrayal, but I cannot be broken. If this rule unsettled you, it should, because this is where most men fall. They place blind faith in loyalty, only to be destroyed by betrayal. Do not be like them. Subscribe, like, and lock in, because Rule 5 is coming. And it is the final, most brutal truth, the one that decides whether you merely survive this life or rise to absolute dominance. Rule 5: dominate yourself or be dominated by life. This is the final and most brutal rule. You can master perception. You can eliminate dependence. You can command power and prepare for betrayal. But if you cannot master yourself, every victory will crumble. The man who cannot rule himself will never rule anything. Machiavelli understood that the greatest danger to a ruler was not always external enemies. It was internal weakness, corruption, indulgence, lack of discipline. And the same is true for you. Your greatest enemy is not the world. It is the part of you that sabotages your own potential. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is the essence of the final rule. External control means nothing if internally you are a slave to lust, to laziness, to fear, to distraction. Domination of self is the root of all other domination. Nietzsche spoke of the will to power, but he also warned, "He who cannot obey himself will be commanded." That is the razor's edge. If you lack self-command, someone else will command you: your boss, your desires, your impulses, your environment. To become the strongest version of yourself, you must forge inner mastery with relentless discipline. Ask yourself, who runs your life, you or your impulses? Who decides your path, your rational mind or your cravings? Every time you let weakness guide you, you hand over your crown, and life, merciless as it is, will not hesitate to enslave you. This is why discipline is freedom. The man who rises early, trains his body, sharpens his mind, manages his money, and directs his focus, he is free. The man who oversleeps, wastes his time, spends recklessly, indulges without restraint, he is a prisoner. He may think he's free, but he is shackled by chains he forged himself. Arthur Schopenhauer wrote, "Man can do what he wills, but he cannot will what he wills." What did he mean? That your desires arise uninvited. You cannot always choose what tempts you, but you can choose whether to submit or to resist. That choice is the battlefield, where true strength is proven. Here's the actionable step. Establish a code, a set of non-negotiable standards you live by, regardless of circumstance. Wake at a set time. Train daily. Study relentlessly. Save and invest your money. Limit distractions. Create a system that makes weakness impossible. Because without a code, you are clay in the hands of life's chaos. The final, ruthless rule is this: master yourself with absolute discipline. If you cannot command yourself, you will forever be commanded by others. Comment this now. I command myself. Nothing owns me. Now let's close this. You've heard the 5 ruthless rules. Master perception. Eliminate dependence. Respect power. Expect betrayal. And above all, dominate yourself. These are not soft guidelines. They are hard laws. Violate them, and you remain ordinary. Live by them, and you ascend to a level most people will never even glimpse. But here's the final challenge. Hearing this means nothing unless you act. Information without execution is decay. So, commit today. Audit your perception, cut your dependencies, build undeniable strength, prepare for betrayal, and master yourself with unrelenting discipline. If this video shook you, if it forced you to confront truths you've avoided, then subscribe and like right now. Because this channel is not for the masses, it is for those who dare to rise. And what's coming next will be even more ruthless, even more powerful. Stay sharp, stay relentless, and remember, the strongest version of yourself is waiting, but only you can become him.